Are you a South African musician trying to figure out how to define success as a musician? Welcome to this episode where I plan on sharing my opinions on that. Cue the intro. What's up, it's your boy Skill from skillmusicsa.com and welcome to my channel where I share information with my fellow South African musicians to help them improve on their business. If this sounds interesting to you, please do consider subscribing. In this video, I plan on sharing my opinions on defining success as a musician. Now, success is a very broad term, so this is an opinion piece, and if you do not agree necessarily, please feel free to hit it down in the comments and we can have a discussion there. So first of all, one thing that I've been having with a lot of people that have been in contact with me is their definition of success. Now, the music industry is a little trickier than other professions, say as being a doctor or an engineer or something else. There's no actual clear pathway to success, but generally I have a feel from the discussions that I've been having that the typical success is A, to be signed by a record label, B, to be touring wherever you go, C, and have your song being playlisted and hearing it every day on radio. Now, those are good goals to have. I'm not saying that they are bad, but realistically, it is highly improbable that most musicians will get there. And unfortunately, those ways of success are dependent on having major backing from a record label because unfortunately, they have monopoly on the system. And the tricky part about being a musician is general society has kind of accepted as that is what a successful musician is. But the reality is only 2% of musicians that have a record deal would get a second record label deal, and at the end of the day, only 1% of that, even 2%, will actually go on to superstardom to reach Drake levels or Beyonce levels, etc. And realistically, most musicians will not get that. Now, how do you define success if that is the situation? Let me go to other fields. In most other fields, let's say engineering, being a doctor, accountant, CA, etc., there is a traditional route to reaching what most people consider success. You finish high school, you go to university, you do some kind of exam towards the end, and then you become a qualified whatever that is. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy to do any of those things. I personally am an engineering graduate, so I understand that that is difficult, but once you've got your certificate or you have graduated, more or less your career path is set. You basically want to work, start earning money, etc, etc. Now, as a musician, even if you do go to university, that does not necessarily correlate or link to being successful. And that is why I think that as musicians, we actually have to be defining our own success. No one can actually say that you are being successful or I am being successful. It is literally based on how I see my expenses, how I make my money, and seeing if it is matching my goal. Now, I'm not going to say that I have some magic formula to whatever success is, but more or less you want to be able to move or upgrade your current lifestyle or match the current lifestyle your parents have given you. Now, I'm not saying forget all about radio, forget about wanting a record deal, forget about touring, but what I'm actually saying is defining your own success to be somewhat tangible is necessary in order to not give up on the music hustle, because at the end of the day, feeling as a failure because you're trying to reach a goal that is impossible is inevitable if your goal is unrealistic. And to be the next Drake is more or less unrealistic. So a way that I've gone about defining how successful my next 3 years will be is to match the last paycheck that I got when I was still working full-time as a mechanical engineer. That means I am working on a passion of mine, making money while I'm doing that passion and having my own time to decide when I want to work versus working the traditional route and going through the system, etc. But how you define your own success is very critical, and as a musician, unfortunately, not a lot of people can help you define that. You will have to define it yourself in terms of something that is tangible, in terms of setting smart goals, and in terms of making it somewhat possible for you to reach that goal. Now, I know this deviates from what I usually post, but I just felt like I needed to share my opinions on defining success. But that concludes this video. I hope you found it informative, and please feel free to go down to the comments so we can actually discuss what you've been going through in terms of defining what success is as a musician. But that concludes this video, and until next time, Skilligan the Hooligan signing out.